All right, you guys, this is episode 8 of Inner Demons. Before I get into this, there's a few things I want to start out by saying. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys, as always, for the positive comments that you guys continue to drop either on the channel or on my IG. Some of the comments are phenomenal, man. Hearing about some of your other stories, people that have been through some of the similar situations that I've been through. It's therapeutical to read about some of that stuff. So you guys are having the same kind of effect on me that some of you are claiming that I'm having on you. So keep that positivity coming, man. I've already got a lot of validation telling me that people are changing some of their old way of thinking. You know, that some of these episodes, some of the things that we talk about, even on the channel, aside from the Inner Demons episodes, having guys come on like Jerry Salazar. There's a lot of active homeboys that are still in the mix that watch the channel, and I appreciate that. You know, the one thing I want to say to you guys personally is that I understand your belief system. I understand the way that you guys think. I lived with that belief system for over 30 years, and there's still certain things that I still believe in. I didn't make a lifetime. I just didn't. Some of the choices that I made that didn't change who I am as a man, as an individual. I hope you guys understand where I'm coming from. Read between the lines, man. You know, there's still certain things that I believe in, and I don't think that'll ever change. You can't, I'm not a hard drive. You can't just delete some of those old beliefs. Even though I don't apply them and I try not to push them because they'll get me in trouble, I still believe in some things, and there's things that are still near and dear to me. So hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. Anyway, and again, I know I'm off track right here, but you know, the episode with me and Jerry, I'm trying to get Jerry to come on as somewhat of a permanent fixture on the channel. I believe he's got it doesn't get any more realer than to have somebody like him on. It's been a long time since I've been able to converse with somebody like that functioned at a similar level that I did within the organization, that was part of leadership, that was out there in the trenches, that can relate to a lot of the things that I've lived through. And like I said before, man, it's you know, Josh is somebody that comes close to that level because, you know, he's an intellectual individual. He has his own experiences. Although he was just a hermano, Josh was somebody that was deep in the mix, and he's a calculating, well thought out, articulate guy, man. And you know, he was somebody that was on the outside looking in, but he paid attention. So he's about as close as I've been able to come to someone that is familiar with that lifestyle. Rojo is probably the next closest thing. Rojo was a young C. You know, I know Rojo has said before in the past that he wouldn't be who he was if it wasn't for me. And I'm honored and I'm humbled that Rojo would say something like that. However, at the same time, I look at it like this, man. I don't think I did Rojo a lot of good by pulling him into the movement, bringing him into the organization, and instilling some of the things that I instilled within him, because it set him on the wrong path. Rojo made his own decisions in life, but I played some type of role in those decisions because of the things that I exposed him to. So, like I said, man, I'm humbled by it, and you know, I appreciate the fact that he holds me in that type of regard. But you know, if I was really gonna do something positive for Rojo, I put him on a diet and give him a job. not get his teeth fixed, man. No, straight up. Let me get back into this episode, man. I believe again, man. I know a couple days has elapsed, and it kind of throws me. Man, stop texting me, man. Whoever you are, let me see who this is so I can cuss them out later. Why doesn't it surprise me, man? Bro, take a what do you call it, man? ESP. Like, homeboy, stop calling me right now, bro. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do this and you're messing me up. Fucking individual. I'm gonna end up cutting my phone off, man, if you don't stop. Let me text this dude. Anyway, like I said, I know that a few days has elapsed, man, and I haven't put an episode out, but there's trying to deal with getting myself prepared for this next video with Jerry, and then trying to work on the content for you guys, and then the regular everyday stuff around the house, dealing with life's everyday issues, man. Sometimes I just don't have enough time in my day, man. So I hope you guys will bear with me, man. If a day or two goes by, maybe even 3, before I put the next episode out. Anyway, I want to jump straight back into this, but when a few days goes by like this, I kind of lose my mojo, man. I believe I was in the county jail. I had just caught that case, and I had taken the 7 years, I believe. I think that's where I was at. But I wanted to go back and touch on there was something I wanted to touch on. I believe it was, I wanted to touch on the situation with the Africanos in the county jail. So let me just say this, man. After I went back up to 6 North, and I got an Icy Mike and Frisco Mike and some of the other Africanos that I knew from the streets and from juvenile hall, Tony Swan, Linwood, Mito Jackson, some of those guys. I went back up to 6 North and I explained it to them. They supposedly they hollered at their people down there. This was gonna create a war. There was around 8 or 9 homeboys that were housed in the kitchen dorm, where all the kitchen workers were at. And if I was to go back down there, the other homeboys weren't just gonna stand by. But this should have been nipped in the bud, man. It should have never. I feel like a lot of these older Africanos have been in the joint. They understood politics better than me. I was 18 years old. I was blind. I was an eager youngster. I was hungry, and maybe I wasn't schooled. I wasn't educated, and I was being sloppy. But they should have never have took some of the things that I was doing personally, or as if it was directed to them. Me sharpening knives, I was doing my thing, man. There were enemies that were coming into the jail. It was already proven once. Plus, I just knew that was part of being in jail, is having knives, having security. But these were supposed to be our allies, man. I knew that much. I didn't know that much more about politics, but I knew the Africanos were our allies. This is who we fuck with when we went to prison. I'd heard stories, man, bro. Stop fucking texting me, bro. Oh, okay. Well, you get a pass, homie. This is So, some of these Africanos, they've been to prison, and they understood that they were. Basically, what I'm trying to say is they were more versed in the politics. They should have knew better, man. I wasn't educated at that time. I mean, I was barely educated as a Norteño on the streets, so I didn't really know, the do's and don'ts, or what gave us a bad look, or what could cause tension. I didn't know none of that stuff, man. I was 18 years old. You know what I mean? I was a wild youngster. I referred to myself as a loose cannon before, but I don't know if that fits the bill, man, because a loose cannon, like I would just consider myself, I was wild. I was trying to show a lot of initiative. And I was doing what I thought was right, man. But somehow, some way, this was misconstrued or was misinterpreted. You know what I mean? But anyway, so let me just jump forward real quick because I'll show you how this ends up working. It was a trip, man, because so for whatever reason, whether somebody told on me, whether somebody communicated something to the administration in the jail, I didn't get to go back down to the dorm. That shit wasn't happening. They killed it. Somebody killed it. The dude, the guy that, or the officer that was in charge of getting us signed up to go back down to the dorm, he started playing stupid. He started playing keep away. Whenever he would come up on the tier, I'd hit him up. Hey, what's up, man? He's like, there's other people ahead of you, or, I'm looking into it, or, and at some point I finally realized that, you know what, man, I'm not going back down there. Somebody's fucking hating on me, or somebody said something. So it's not going to happen, because in the beginning, he was all for it. He was like, yeah, man, as far as I know, you were rolled up because they were looking into something. Nothing ever came of it. There was no write-up. There's no record of it. So you're good to go. So I read between the lines, and I kind of figured it out, man. Anyway, what I was going to say is, jumping ahead, it's a trip, because when I ended up going to prison, I'm just jumping ahead for a minute just to tell you what ended up happening. So that individual pops that I had that conversation with at the gate, when that little youngster tried to poke me with that broomstick, I ended up running into him in San Quentin. And my, how things were different over there. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't as bold or as courageous as he was in the jail. I approached him on the tier, and I didn't even have bad intentions. I was like, I seen him on the tier. This was already when I was in Quentin for I was there for a month or two. I was settled in. I was running around doing my thing in Quentin, and I seen him. I rolled up on him, and I'm like, he didn't even see me. This fool was in his cell with his back turned. I opened up the cell door, and I was like, what's up, Pops? And he turned around, he looked at me like a deer in the headlights, man. And he was like, hey, boxer, man, what's going on, man? I don't want to paint him in a bad light. I don't know if he's still alive. He might be like 100 right now. I don't know. But it's been a while, but he kind of just said, hey, man, the shit that happened in the county jail. I was like, hey, you don't even need to address it, man. I understand. You know what I mean? I understand. But the thing I want you to know is this, man. Nothing that I was doing over there was ever directed at you and your people. I know I was running around doing some wild shit, but it was never directed at you guys, and you should have understood that, man. You should have knew better. The tension was created. I might have been the reason why, but the tension was created because you took it out of context, man. And straight up, that's what it was, because we weren't tripping on you guys, man. And that it caused me further grief with my people, because the homies were like, come on, B, man, you're causing tension with us and Africanos now. We got your back, straight up, but you can't do that, man. You know what I mean? But with all due respect to the two homies that were there in the jail, being that I was a first termer, I was just coming into jail, just barely coming into the jail environment at 18 years old. Being that there was two hermanos that were there, it was their responsibility to get at me, to sit me down, and they should have been like, look, youngster, this is what you can do, this is what you can't do, this is what you shouldn't do, and this is what this is what won't be tolerated. Whatever, man. I don't even remember any household policy. They weren't running the jail like they should have. I don't remember ever seeing any household policies. Nobody ever sat me down. Nobody ever educated me. And this used to be one of the staples that the NR and the NF used to push in the 80s and the even into the early and mid 90s, is that no norteño will go to prison blind or basically green without being educated, about prison, about, whether it's the cause, whether it's the security, whether it's the about our enemies, whether it's about the war. That was our responsibility, and neither one of them stepped up and did that. When in retrospect, when I think back on it, man, I'm telling you, I don't remember no no household policies ever being circulated. I don't remember like no NA apps being circulated. Like when I came in, I wasn't required to give up my name and none of that stuff. They weren't running the jail like they were supposed to. But these guys, like I had said in one of my other episodes, these guys they were real passive, and they just kind of laid back and did their thing, man. They were in the cuts. Anyway, so when I jammed up Pops in San Quentin, he made it more than obvious that he didn't want no problems. And I told him, hey man, I'm not pushing no issues. You know what I mean? I'm not pushing those kind of politics. We're good, man. You know what I mean? But not only should that have been a learning experience for me, but it should be one for you too, man. Because we're supposed to be better than that. Look at us now, man. We're out here together. Your people, my people, and everything that I understand, man. You know what I mean? We're going to war together right now. In places like Folsom, I'd heard about, I was getting educated now in Quentin, and I was learning about the cause, the movement, the struggle, and I was learning about all this stuff, that we were going to war together with the Africanos side by side in some of these prisons: Folsom, Tehachapi, Corcoran, Susanville, Jamestown. I remember hearing about all the stories, man, back in those days. So, it was resolved. Nothing ever happened in the county jail. We didn't end up getting into it with them over that situation, but it was a learning experience for me. So anyway, I want to kind of back up a little bit. One of the things that I kind of want to go a little bit more into is the other day when I did an episode or a live, we'll call it a live. I did a live with Jerry. He mentioned there was a lot of things that it's a trip how small the world is, man. That how tied in we were with each other. We were tied in a lot of different ways. We knew a lot of different people. We had been through a lot of similar shit, but there was one individual that he mentioned that played a huge role in my life, and that's the individual that I refer to as my criminal mentor, and that was John Romero, Sleepy. When I mentioned him to Jerry's first words that came out his mouth was, "That fucking dude's a killer, man. That dude will kill you in a heartbeat. He's a fucking straight killer. He killed 2 cats in I believe he said it was either, I had always heard when I was a youngster, because I had heard when he went back to the joint that it was either Solano or Vacaville, but he killed 2 individuals over there, and that's how Sleepy was, man. I'm trying to, a lot of the things that we did, I want to talk about them. I just don't want to, I don't want to set myself up for failure, man. I might come back to certain things and speak on them in real general, basic terms, man, without giving up times, dates, places, events, specific events or names. I'm not trying to get caught up, man. But when it comes to violence, and when it comes to some of the things that he taught me, some of the things that we did out there, we hurt a lot of people. We hurt a lot of people, and I'm gonna tell you guys like this, man. So when I met Sleepy out there on the streets, Sleepy was probably like, I want to say he was around 20, 24, 25. I think I was around, at that time, I don't know, man. I want to say 16, 17. Could have been 15, somewhere around there. I met him out there. We run around on the streets. I was ripping and running with another cat, Angel Robert Rodriguez from Daly City. He's another cat that Jerry mentioned, having done time with him in Tehachapi Shoe. Angel had a lot of history. He's done a lot of shit. Another solid ass homeboy from Daly City. Anyway, when I met Sleepy, we clicked, man. We clicked. Even though there was a big difference in age, we clicked, man. I was out there in the streets doing my thing. I was a little fucking roughneck. But we clicked. He liked me because I was a wild youngster. I didn't hesitate to ever, if we were gonna rob somebody, we were gonna do a home invasion. If we were gonna do some type of robbery, a smash and grab, a straight takedown robbery, I never hesitated. When it came time to hurting people, I didn't hesitate. And I'm gonna tell you guys why, man. As a young gang member, and I think I might have said this before, but as a young gang member, I used to watch and observe, man, when I be around a lot of these older dudes. I used to watch how they used to move, things that they would do, stuff that they would initiate, how they got their respect, how they walked, how they talked, their mannerisms. I'd sit back and I watched these dudes, almost like I was mesmerized, man. It was something that I was glorifying, but I was fascinated by how some of these dudes, how they got their respect on the streets. I started paying attention and I started emulating them. Now, what I mean by that is, so I learned early on that running around with Sleepy, you know, I was already a wild youngster. I was already hurting people. I'd stabbed somebody. I had done it before. I had shot people before. Real shit, man. I'm gonna tell you guys some of the situations that we were in. But before I even met him, I was already out there on the streets doing this type of shit. A lot of it was just me being a dumbass kid, a dumb young gang member that was doing it for no reason, just to show out in front of the homies. I mean, stupid shit. I would literally stab somebody or shoot them just to do it. Didn't know him, didn't disrespect me. There was no reason. And I think that's why they used to call me Diablo, because I don't even want to talk about half the shit I used to do, but I used to do some fucking, not some weirdo shit, but just some crazy shit, man. When I think back on it, like, what were you fucking thinking, man? You know what I mean? Why would you do something like that? But anyway, I learned from fucking around with Sleepy and seeing some of the shit that he would do to some of our victims. The effect that it had on me, I didn't fear Sleepy because I knew that me and him would never get into it. But I gauged my reaction, my own reaction, how I reacted to some of the things that he did. So I learned early on, and I refer to this in my book as the status mobility system. I learned early on that the more violent I was, the more people that I hurt out there, the more I was able, the more people I hurt, the more blood I spilled, the more people I stabbed, I shot, I beat up, I hit with fucking crowbars, baseball bats, cut with box cutters, hit with bottles, just it goes on and on, man. The more shit that I did out there in front of people, the more that they would fear me and the more that they would respect me. And I learned how to suppress my conscience. I remember I used to have a conscience when I was a youngster. I had a conscience at one time, but getting involved with when I became a gang member, young gang member, and I started putting myself in situations where I would have to hurt somebody, or I did hurt somebody. I learned how to just suppress it, man. I learned how to just I desensitized myself. It wouldn't bother me. I could go out and do something with the homie. We'd go out and rob somebody, beat somebody up, stab somebody, shoot somebody, beat them down with baseball bats, whatever. and I wouldn't think about it. We go sit down and eat breakfast. 5 minutes later, and I wouldn't even give it a second thought. It was just like I laugh about it. Hey, did you see how the homie was? You see how that fool was begging it? Yeah, I don't want to paint myself out to be some sick type of individual, because Sean Whelan, the comment that you made, I respect you, man. But you made a comment about, the Inner Demons episodes not putting me in a good light. That hearing about some of the shit that I did, it really makes me look bad, and I get that, man. But you gotta understand something, Sean. That's more. That gives me more credibility, I think, to show a lot of these guys how far I've come to be able to go from something like that to something like this, man, or what I'm doing now. Man, that's a big part of why I'm doing what I've done, why I'm doing what I'm doing now, to try to help some people, to try to help some of these youngsters not go down that path, man, not hurt, not to go out there on the streets and hurt people, make them realize that, man, how would you feel if that was your sister or your daughter or your mom or your dad or your brother or your uncle? How would you feel if they got victimized? Somebody just ran up on them and started stabbing them. I mean, man, just thinking about it, man, running up on somebody, stabbing them a couple times, and then laughing about it for no reason. That just goes to show how much I didn't value life, man. I mean, think about it. You go stab somebody with a big ass knife. You go stab them and you plug them a couple times. What's gonna happen? They're gonna go to the hospital. They gotta go through surgery. It's a life altering experience, and I literally took things like that. I didn't think about how they'd be laying up in the hospital for 2-3, a week or whatever, however long. I didn't think about them having to go to surgery, or how it affected their families, or how it might have affected their kids, or their significant other. I didn't think about them things because I was young, man, and I was stupid. When Sleepy lived with me, when he lived, my mom took a liking to him because he was a respectful dude, but he was a killer, man. Make no mistake about it. And he had a lot of charisma, and he was a real sharp individual. So what me and him would do is every night at around 2 o'clock, we leave my house, and we leave with like burglary tools, knives. Later on, we leave with guns and shit like that. That was my stepfather's. We take his gun. I knew where he'd hide his guns at, and so we take these tools with us, things that we needed to either do burglaries or robberies, whatever we got into. A lot of our stuff was by opportunity. We'd literally be casing my neighborhood or the Excelsior district or parts of the Mission district looking for victims. If you were out walking around early in the morning trying to go to work or something like that, and you were in close proximity, you became a victim. I tell you, like, to give you guys an example, by opportunity. So like, we hit a lot of houses in my neighborhood, whether it was further down in the Excelsior, couple miles out or whatever. We hit a lot of different houses in different parts of Excelsior. But so by opportunity, I mean, like, we'd be walking down the street. I remember one time we were walking down Athens, right? And I can talk about this because the statute of limitations, nobody got hurt in this. It was just a residential burglary. Well, so check it out. So we're walking down Athens. We're coming up to like Bismarck, one of those streets down there. I forget the Persia or something like that. And we're walking, and a garage door across the street. As we're walking down the street, garage door opens up. Car backs out. Lady opens up the door. She gets out her car, shuts the door. She goes back in her garage. And when we were walking from that vantage point, we can see that she went back in the garage, and we can see her go up the stairs. So without even saying anything, homeboy just fucking darted across the street, went into the garage, and hid. And I'm laughing. I'm like, this crazy motherfucker, right? So he's in there hiding. I take a seat on some stairs across the street. I sit there like I'm doing my own thing. Uh, I'm just sitting there. Lady comes back down. She gets in her car. She backs up. She hits the garage door. Garage closes. She takes off. I'm sitting there. 2-3 minutes go by. Homeboy pops his head over the fucking side fence. He's like, "Come on, bro." So I go over there. I go across the street. He opens up the fucking side fence, and now we're in the garage. We get in the garage, and I remember we started going towards the stairs, and we hear somebody walking around upstairs, right? We can hear him, and he stops, and he goes, "Hey, bro, do you hear that?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "There's fucking somebody in the pad, bro. There's somebody's up there, right?" And I'm like, "What do you want to do?" He's like, "Let's fucking, hey, check it out." He's like, "There's some tools right there." I don't remember what he handed me. It was like a big old fucking, some kind of garden shear or something. And he grabs like a, a big hammer, and he's like, let's go up there and let's fucking just, let's go smash him, bro. You know what I'm saying? Whoever it is, he's like, when we get up to the top of the stairs, you go right, I'll go left. And just go from room to room looking, bro. When you see him, he's like, just get on him, bro. And I'm like, all right. So we start going up the stairs. We go up the stairs. We get to the top of the stairs, right? Get to the top of the stairs, and the fucking door is locked. So it's dark, and he pulls out a fucking lighter. He lights the lighter, and he looks at me. He goes, "Hey," he's like, "We gotta fucking bust the door down. The motherfucker's locked," right? So I go back down the stairs, and he goes, "Get a screwdriver or something." So I go, I look in all these tools, man. Whoever lived there, man, they had a bunch of fucking tools all on the wall, and big old fucking tool table and shit. So I'm looking, I get a screwdriver. Go back up, I hand him the screwdriver. He puts the screwdriver in the crack of the door, and he's like, "You ready?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah." So one pull, he pulls the fucking door, just where the lock mechanism's at, it just shreds, right? In the door, he opens up the door, he goes left, I go right. Go into the first room, I'm looking, there ain't nobody in there. I go into the living room, or there's 2 bedrooms. I went into the other bedroom, nobody there. I go into the living room, I'm looking, nobody. I go into the kitchen, bro, and he's in there, I can hear him going in. So we're looking in closets everywhere, under beds. Comes out, he's like, "Bro, there ain't nobody here, bro." And I'm like, "There ain't nobody in the other rooms. I checked everywhere, bro." So he's like, "Man, I know I heard somebody." He's like, "Did somebody leave?" Right? So we go and he look at the front door. Front door is locked. There's no way somebody left, man. So it's like, "Bro, I know I heard somebody, man." And we both heard him. There was somebody walking around. We fucking heard it. So anyway, we start doing what we came there to do, man. I start going through drawers, I start ransacking shit, going through drawers, pulling out coins, anything of value, jewelry, change, whatever, man. And we put it all in sheets, and we tie the sheets up with knots so that we can just throw the shit over our shoulders and lug this shit back to my pad, right? So after I go through the 2 bedrooms, I go into the dining room, and I get this cabinet, this nice fucking cabinet. She's got like a not a nook, man, but it's like I don't know what they're called, man. It's where people put their fucking china and all their nice dishes and all that good fancy shit. So I start going through the drawers, and there's silverware in green velvet pouches. So I'm taking all the silver. This is real silver. So when I'm doing that, I look over to my right, and under the chair, I see a little poodle. A little white poodle. And this motherfucker's shaking. He's looking up at me like the fear of God is in this fool, right? He looks up at me and he's just shaking. And I look down at him, and I tell Sleepy, I said, "Hey, bro, I know what that was now, homie. When we thought we heard somebody in there." And he's like, "What was it?" He came in. I go, "Check it out, bro." And he looks at the poodle, and he's like, "A fucking dog?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, that's what it was." And he goes, "Yeah, it makes sense, man. So anyway, he goes back. Anyway, I look at the dog. I go in the kitchen. I get a big ass knife, right? Now I'm just bullshitting, man. I didn't do nothing to that dog. Even though I mean, I've always been an animal lover, and even though I was doing my thing out there hurting people, I I just wasn't into hurting animals like that. I looked at that little dog and I'm like, bro, you ain't got nothing to worry about. I ain't gonna hurt you. So anyway, we finished getting everything from that house, everything of value. We lug it over our shoulders. We take it back to my pad. That's what we used to do every night. If it wasn't a residential burglary, well, let me take that back. So we take it back to my pad. At that time, I was living on Felton in Excelsior, and that's when I had that little attic that kind of became like my little safe haven. We used to party up there, drink, smoke weed, smoke blast, bring females up there, play music. That was my spot. That, Josh, was the real homie hangout. So, you know, and this is kind of like what I say about, you know, my mom. Kind of like I had a relationship with my mom to where she was almost like we had a homegirl, homeboy type of relationship. It wasn't like a daughter-son relationship. Anyway, this is when she'd come out, she'd be like, what you doing, man? You know what I mean? And what you guys do? You guys hit a pad? Yeah. So she'd be like, what you guys got? And she'd be like, Dad, can I get that silverware? Go ahead, take it. Can I get that? You know what I mean? So I break bread with her. Whatever she wanted, I used to tell her to take it. The rest of the shit, we had some fences, some Middle Eastern cats that owned liquor stores in the Mission District. They used to buy everything we used to sell. That was a good hit. That house. There was a lot of old coins that were probably worth a lot of money because the dude took all the coins that we had. When I think about it now, there was like a lot of fucking big silver coins that were probably eagles, man. And the dude was like, "I'll give you $5 each for." We had like 300-400 of them. They were probably worth a lot more. But anyway, that was just like one night right there, man. When we first started going out doing this shit, it started out with cars. We take a fucking the radio, the tweeters, the amplifiers, the speakers, anything of value in the car, and then we go and get rid of that shit. But then it escalated, man. You know what I mean? Little fucking punk ass car stereo wasn't enough. We graduated to robbing houses or burglarizing houses. Then it went to burglarizing businesses, legitimate businesses. And then it turned to robberies, and it continued to escalate. It escalated until we started using weapons. Weapons were involved, and then people started getting hurt. People started getting shot. People started getting stabbed. I don't want to keep going on and on and on about different stories that, you know, where I hurt people. But I'll give you guys another example of like the shit that I used to do just to show the homie. I mean, he used to do the same shit. He would cut people up, stab them, shoot somebody in the leg. You know what I mean? Just do dumb shit, man. Lightweight torture tactics to make a motherfucker give up the money wherever they were hiding the money or the dope. But you know, this one pad that we hit, it was an apartment. It was in the Mission District. It was in the Mission District, and when we hit this pad, all I remember is that when we went to the door, the dude that opened up the door, he and homeboy was quarterbacking. I was following his lead, man. But anyway, we knocked on the door. This little paisa opened up the door, and then we bull rushed up in there. We fucking grabbed that paisa and just fucking ran him up the stairs and sat him down, and we started opening up doors, right? And there was probably like 6 paisas that lived up, but we had weapons, man. So they weren't fighting back. There were 6 of them. All of them were little dudes. They looked like no disrespect, man, but they looked like probably fucking. They were all like well, there ain't no migrant workers out there in San Francisco. There's no fucking lettuce fields or none of that stuff out there. They're probably landscapers, or they did something like that. But they look like little workers, man, paisas, and they're probably all about 5'1", 5'2" little dudes. So anyway, we get them. It's late at night. These motherfuckers are in bed. They're in their fucking underwear when we pull them out of bed and we sit them down in one room, and we're ransacking the whole place, and we're taking all their shit, right? We're taking everything of value like we used to do. And at one point, these dudes weren't fighting back. They weren't pushing back. They were like, hey, take whatever you're gonna take. Just, you know what I mean? Whatever you guys are gonna do, just take it. They were scared, man. At one point, we were all in the same room. Sleepy was in there ransacking while I was standing over these dudes. And I had a weapon in my hand. And for no other reason other than to show out in front of the homie, I inflicted some type of violent act on this individual. I did some. Sandman, you got to fix this part of it. Hold on. Hello?
This is Global Tel-Link. You have a prepaid call from Charles Owens, an inmate at the California Medical Facility, Vacaville, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. To accept this call, say or dial 5 now.
Hello?
Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello? What's up, man? Yeah. So anyway, like I was saying, man, I inflicted some type of violent act on this individual, and the whole purpose for doing it was to just show Sleepy that I was capable of doing it. It was just showing out in front of the homie. There was, like I said, man, there was no reason for me to do it other than that, and that's why I did it. And there were multiple other times where I would do shit like that. You know, if there was any kind of animosity with Sleepy, or when we be in the hood, if somebody got into an argument with somebody, or something happened with one of the homies, you know, I would do something crazy, man. Like, if I had a pistol, maybe I might end up just shooting this individual. Like, I wouldn't just take a headshot. Unless, I mean, I wasn't always trying to kill somebody. I wouldn't always try to take a headshot. I might shoot somebody in the leg or in the stomach or something, or I might stab somebody that was disrespecting a homie, and the homies might be like, damn, bro, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why you tripping, bro? It ain't that serious. You know what I mean? That's the type of shit that I used to do. That's the type of shit I was known for. A lot of homies in my neighborhood, and I'm not saying this because I got a big head or any arrogance, but a lot of them feared me because I used to do dumb shit like that. They didn't want to be around me when, if we're gonna go hit a lick or something like that, they wouldn't. A lot of them, or some of the ones that I can remember, a lot of homeboys not wanting to do shit with me because I would turn a 211 into an ugly case. You know what I mean? Just put it like that, man. But the whole purpose for doing that, for hurting people, is I didn't wake up like that. I didn't wake up one day and decide that I was gonna hurt somebody or that I liked hurting people. I did it because I thought this was what I was supposed to do. This is the belief system that was being instilled in me. This is what I was learning from a lot of these older homies. And, you know, years later, man, like right now, for a lot of you youngsters, man, that are out there doing this shit, that you know, think it's cool to go out there and shoot somebody, and yeah, it's empowering, man, to watch somebody beg for their life. It's empowering to you know, it changes you when you stab somebody and you can feel the air you can feel the air come out of a human body. You can feel the fear. You know what I mean? That you have that power over somebody. It's cool when you're doing it and you think it's something that a lot of youngsters might glorify. But bro, think about this, man. Think about somebody that's been. Take it from somebody that's been through shit like that. Again, man, everybody got family. Everybody got mothers, brothers, sisters, uncles, fathers. Goes on and on. Everybody got family. How would you feel if that was your loved one? How would you feel if, you know, one of your favorite uncles or your dad or your cousin or somebody that you held near and dear got stabbed up and didn't even know why, for no reason? That's the worst part about it, for no reason. You know, you're out there in the streets and you know, you're getting into conflicts with people and you're out there in the mix like that, then you put yourself in that situation. But somebody just walking down the street and somebody runs up on them and starts stabbing them for no reason. Just think about that the next time that you're in a situation where you're with the homies and you guys are out there head hunting, or you're out there looking for somebody to to victimize. Man, I've been there. I've done that. I know what it feels like. I know what you guys are doing out there, man. You know what I mean? I know what it's like to be in a car full of homies and everybody's feeding off each other's energy. You know what I mean? We're out there fucking putting in work, gang banging on the streets. And a lot of this stuff I'm going to talk about later, because it's crazy that when I think back on it, most of my gang banging came after I did a lot of it when I was in school and on the streets, but a lot of that was red on red. But a lot of it came after I was 18 in the early 90s, when there was a lot of Sureños that either migrated to Northern California or that just homegrown Sureños. And shout out to all my Southside viewers, man. You guys again know that talking about this stuff, I'm not glorifying it. You know, I hate the fact that I was out there hurting my own people, raza. But, you know, again, I didn't wake up one day and just decide to start doing this shit myself. I watched and I learned and I listened, and this is stuff that was instilled within me. So, a lot of the shit that I was doing out there as far as gangbanging came after the first time I went to prison, and that was after '92. But like I was saying, you know, I know what it feels like to be in a carload full of homies and we're all feeding off each other's energy, and we spot an enemy out there and we all jump out and everybody gets on this fool, right? We're trying to knock this fool down. Everybody gets on him. And there comes a, you know, everybody wants their act to be more sinister and more bloodier or more just worse than the next guy's. You know what I mean? So after we do whatever we do to this individual, stab him, beat him up, stomp him out, mollywop him, step on his head, break his neck. I mean, after we do what we do, after we jump out on this individual, get back in the car, everybody's feeding off each other's energy. This is what it is. This is what happens most of the time. And everybody's like, hey man, did you see what I broke that fool's fucking, I broke his arm, or I stabbed the shit out of him, or I cut his throat, or man, I shot him 3 times, bro, in the back. Or, you know, everybody wants their act to be more sinister, more violent, and more bloodier than the next guy. It's crazy. I've said it in many of my spills, but humans are fascinated by acts of violence. It's something that everybody understands. Nobody wants to be on the receiving end of it, but you'll sit there and you'll watch somebody get their fucking throat cut or get stabbed 50 times. I've sat there and watched videos myself about this shit. Why? Because it's fascinating. But people don't end up thinking about the fallout and how it hurts people, and that's the whole point. And I guess that's the whole point in today's episode. Look, man. Just to wrap it up, so I stayed in the county jail, I want to say about want to say close to 16, 18 months or something like that. I told you guys how I was going from San Mateo to San Francisco back and forth, and how they did that little fucking scandalous move, how they OR'd me just so that they could give the victim another opportunity to show up. Well, the motherfucker did show up. When I went back to court, the day after I caught that other robbery and I was in the county jail, the bailiff, when she came to get me, she was like, "Hey, it's your turn to go to court." And I'd already been going to this courtroom for a while, so she knew me, she remembered me. So she was like, "Hey, what's up, Mendoza? It's you ready?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "But hey, what happened with what's going on with this other robbery? Are they tying it into this, or what are they doing? Is it to the same court, or what's happening?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? What other robbery?" And I was like, "They released me." And she was like, "What? Are you serious?" I don't know. I didn't hear about no other robbery. And I'm like, "Well, can you check? Because I wanted to know if they were gonna file another case on me or not." And I thought she knew about it, but she didn't. She was like, "Fuck, what happened?" And I told her, and she was just like, "Wow, that's crazy." Yeah. I bet you regret being an OR now, because I picked up within that short period of time, man. I ended up picking up 3 robberies, 1 in Frisco and 2 in San Mateo. And the 2 in San Mateo ended up being ugly. But anyway, I just want to close this part of it up so that when we come back on the next episode, I'm set to go to San Quentin. I remember going to court in San Mateo, and when I went in there with my attorney, the judge or the DA was proposing that I get 7 years. And Frisco they weren't even budging as far as how much time they were going to give me. I believe they might have threw something out there, but everything was still kind of up in the air because I had an active case still open. And anyway, San Mateo threw 7 years at me, like the first fucking court appearance I went to. It wasn't. So I went to prelim, and I told you guys that the guy I got released with didn't testify against me, but the guy that his friend came and testified. And he came in there dramatic. It was all dramatic, man. And the female was supposed to testify against me as well. They contacted her and did what they normally do to females with babies. "Hey, if you don't fucking testify against this monster, we're going to take your baby because he put you and your baby, in a fucked up situation." And so anyway, when I go to prelim, this fool comes in all preppied up. He ain't got no rock shirt on, no ACDC shirt or Metallica or none of that shit. This fool's preppied up with the fucking, a little V-neck sweater and some slacks, some loafers, and he's got his fucking hair is parted to the side. Anyway, he comes in. He's got a tube taped on his throat, and in order for him to talk, he has to put his finger on the end of the tube to make his voice. I don't know, supposedly his larynx and know if his what it's called, man. I forget what it's called, but his larynx and something else was sliced. But he came in and gave up one of the most dramatic testimonies that painted me out to be a monster, like I just was a savage that just was intent on cutting his throat, and that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did. And that I was a monster, and he was scared of me, and people like me shouldn't be on the streets. And there's no doubt about it that if I was to get back out, that I was gonna end up killing somebody. I mean, this boy put it on thick. He could have. That was an Academy Award-winning testimony that he gave, man, straight up. Anyway, after my prelim, I get bound over. I know I'm gonna get reamed by San Mateo. This is when they offer me the 7 years when I go back to court. So I'm in there, I'm like, fuck no, I ain't taking 7 years, man. Hell nah. So my attorney tells me, "Hey, you don't want to take it." And I'm like, "Nope, I'm not taking 7. I'm gonna go to the box." You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to be a little tough guy, take my case to trial and shit. So anyway, I go back in the holding tank, and I remember, man, there was a homeboy in there named Romello. Big homeboy, big yoked up cat, all sleeved down from Redwood City. And he's like, what's up, little homie? Where you from, bro? And I'm like, I'm from the city, bro. Right? What they call you, man? Boxer. All right, my name's Romello. He's like, what you doing out here, bro? You caught a case out here? And I'm like, yeah, man. I start, he's on a parole violation and shit. So I run down my situation to him. And I tell him, they just offered me. He's like, bro, if I was you, I would knock on that door right fucking now and tell him, please give me that 7 years. They're gonna wash your ass up. You ain't heard about San Mateo County, bro? That's an ugly case, and this a white dude, man. You gonna get fucking wiped out, bro. I'm telling you right now. And I'm like, you think so? He's like, no, I know so. I'm from this county. I grew up in this county, and I've been dealing with this shit all my life, right? So I go to the door, right? I start banging and kicking on the door. Bailiff comes back. What's up, man? Who's knocking on the door, kicking the door? I'm like, man, can you please, man, tell my attorney that I changed my mind. I want to take that deal. And he was like, matter of fact, your attorney's still in court right now. Hold on, right? So he goes, he comes back a couple minutes later. He comes back, my attorney with him. My attorney's like, what's up? What's the change of heart? And I'm like, I thought about it. You know what I mean? I thought about it. It's not my best interest. I'm ready to take it. Can you please try to get me back in there? So she went back in. She said, I'll find out if the judge will take it. I don't even know if she'll do it, right? It was a female judge, Camp. I still remember her name. So a couple minutes later, I hear the door opening up. The bailiff says, come on, Mendoza. So I go out, went back in court. I took the 7 years. Frisco ends up, after I take the 7 from San Mateo, they shoot me back to Frisco. I go to court a couple times. Hopefully I remember to tell you guys this. I end up almost catching another case inside the court holding tank. I ended up beating some fucking dude's ass, high on PCP. I was high. Bust his eardrum. There was blood everywhere in the holding tank. And again, there's no reason for it. I was high, and I just wanted to put my hands on somebody, man, and that's what I did. So I'll tell you guys about that situation, and man, I swear to God, I thought this dude was gonna go into court and tell on me. His ear was bleeding. He still hadn't been in court yet. He was thumped up. It was some stupid shit. It was over something dumb. But anyway, Frisco, when I'm going to court, ends up giving me 4 years, but they ran it concurrent with, I believe they ran it concurrent. I want to say they did, man. Either way, whether they ran it bull-legged or concurrent, I ended up taking 7 years between the two counties. And boom, once I was done with all my court shit, I was in Frisco when I ended up catching the Grey Goose to San Quentin. That's when I ended up getting transported to San Quentin. So on my next episode, episode 9, that's where I'm gonna pick up at, is when I was already sentenced and I was on my way to San Quentin for the first time at 18. I just barely turned 19, but I'm on my way to prison. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Inner Demons. I'm out.